where is the next stop for Kirk Cousins?
You like that? You like that?
Now, a lot of people tend to hate on Kirk Cousins specifically because of the playoffs. I mean, there's only one playoff game win, that big win against New Orleans, where he hits you with the second ever you like that. And a lot of people just think it tends to be a little bit overrated. But one thing we can't ignore is that Kirk Cousins has been one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL year after year after year, and one of the most consistent quarterbacks. Now, I'm not 100% sure if we want to tie the Vikings' playoff success or lack thereof just on Kirk Cousins or on the fact that this tends to happen to the Minnesota Vikings. A lot of times in history, this happens to the Vikings. They're like the Buffalo Bills. They're like my home team, Seattle Mariners in baseball, where there's just a lot of times where, the Jets, you just sit there and you say, man, this team can never catch a break. So I don't know if I pin everything on Kirk Cousins, but obviously as a quarterback, you get things pinned on you. And the crazy thing for Kirk Cousins is he's getting older, 35, 36 years old. He's coming off an Achilles tear. And the number that people are projecting for him to make is a pretty huge number. Right now, what we're looking at, it depends on what source you talk to, but let's just go from the first one, which was a crazy number. I don't think this is going to happen, but we'll talk about two different numbers for Kirk Cousins. One was $51 million. Kirk Cousins, yearly price tag now projected at $51 million after the salary cap increase. And that's the big part that you have to consider there is for some people, they believe this is what could happen because of the salary increase. If there wasn't the salary cap increase, who knows? But this comes from one of ESPN's top insiders, Bill Barnwell. According to his QB market, he thinks that because of the value of Kirk Cousins and the new salary cap could be up to $51 million per season, which is a humongous number to look at. He names the Broncos, the Bucks, the Falcons, the Raiders, but also says the Steelers, Titans, Dolphins, and Seahawks all could be interested in Kirk too. And we'll get into the teams at a later point in this video. But as of right now, the point is $51 million. It sounds like a lot of money because it is. So let's not guess it's going to be 51, and let's go to maybe some more realistic numbers, which Sports Track has it. And I actually trust Sports Track's projections a lot. It tends to be somewhat accurate, or it compares and contrasts to the rest of the league. Obviously, with the salary cap situation, like we've mentioned, it makes it a little more confusing. But they have Kirk Cousins at a market value of $39.3 million per year. Now, that might be a lot more realistic, over $50 million. 39.3. So they're saying his average market value would be 3 years, $118 million. And let's put that in comparison to some other people. Aaron Rodgers got a 3-year deal for $112, so at 37 something a year. He signed that at 39 years old, while Kirk is 35. So would it be crazy that Kirk Cousins makes $6 million more on this contract than Aaron Rodgers? Absolutely not. If I was the Jets right now and I had the options to have Aaron Rodgers at $37 million a year at 40 years old coming off an Achilles, or Kirk Cousins at 35 years old coming off an Achilles at the same number pretty much, I'd probably have to lean Kirk Cousins because of the fact that it probably will be 3 or 4 years, not 1, maybe 2 max. Well, who knows with Aaron Rodgers? You look at other contracts. Geno Smith had 3 years, 75, so $25 million a year, which Kirk should probably make more than Geno Smith because Kirk's is a sample size of, let's say, what is it now? 6, 7 years of being a really good starter. A couple years before that of being in the NFL in general. Geno had 1 year sample size, and he deserved his contract, and he's playing it out. If you know me in this channel, I am a Seattle Seahawks fan, so I do like Geno Smith's contract, and it's actually a huge value. There's a lot of upside on that contract compared to other quarterbacks in the NFL right now. But my point is, Kirk Cousins has earned a bigger number, most likely. And then you look at Matthew Stafford, 4 years, $160 at $40 million per year, signed at 34 years old. So I think that one is a very good accuracy one because you saw the Rams win the Super Bowl at 35, 36 years old, Matt Stafford, making about that same money that we're projecting here for Kirk Cousins. And is that possible for a team that's good enough with a guy like Kirk Cousins? Absolutely. Obviously, it all depends on the Achilles. But that number right there is a possible number that could make sense. Now, you look at why teams have to be careful. Russell Wilson got 5 years, $242 million, $48 million a year. Signed at 33 years old. Kirk Cousins older. If they consider what Bill Barnwell said, $51 million a year, you're looking at a Russell Wilson type of contract with a guy who's coming off an Achilles tear, which is why I don't think it's happening. I think Russell Wilson made the market have to stabilize a tiny bit at least for non-super duper talent. Right now, if you're Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson or whoever it may be, Trevor Lawrence in the future and Justin Herbert in the future, Joe Burrow in the future, CJ Stroud in the future, these young guys, you don't count those. When we're talking about these guys at their age, Russell Wilson was a good, clear indication that maybe you shouldn't sign a guy to $50 million a year for 5 years for $240. So I think the fairest value here to look at on this entire list is two of them, which was Stafford's getting about that $40 million per year. And is Kirk Cousins worth that? I think absolutely. And Aaron Rodgers is getting that $37 million a year. Is Kirk Cousins worth that? Yes. Compared to Aaron Rodgers? Absolutely. Once again, as we keep saying, it all depends on his health, obviously. But this is all assuming his health is okay. And let's look at his stats for a second before we get into the teams. Let's look at PFF grades also for a moment. I had to do 20% of the minimum dropbacks because he obviously only played 8 games. But I wanted to exclude, I think if you did no minimum dropbacks, you'd get guys like Kyle Trask who played 1 game and different things like that. But at least 8 games here and 20% of the dropbacks. He's at 7th in passing grades at a 85.1. There's only 6 guys ahead of him, which were Jared Goff, Patrick Mahomes, Matthew Stafford, Dak Prescott, Josh Allen, and Tua Tagovailoa. Now, these numbers don't mean everything, obviously, right? Because you have, different things. These are just the passing grades. If you do overall offensive grade, a guy like Lamar Jackson obviously goes up higher to number 3. Kirk Cousins drops to 9 because Jalen Hurts goes up there and Brock Purdy moves up there as well with the running ability because they have very good runners. Kirk Cousins is a very low grade when it comes to running. The point is, he's always right there, whether it's passing grade or overall, even with running. He's always in the PFF standings at least. He's always somewhere near that top 10 or in the top 10. The year before, if we go to 2022, he was also tied with Geno Smith for 9th in overall offensive grade, and he was 7th again in passing grade. So we're talking about a guy who's continually becoming a top 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 quarterback. He's somewhere between 5 and 10 any given week, any given Sunday. Kirk Cousins is good at football. And you look at the last couple of years. I mean, this year, before he tore his Achilles, only playing 8 games, he was at a 70% completion percentage, 2,300 yards, 18 touchdowns, 5 picks with 103 passer rating. This is one of the best seasons. He was about to have one of the best seasons of his entire career. He was on pace to potentially have close to 40 touchdowns with 10 picks and, almost 5,000 yards. The year before, 4,500 yards, 29 touchdowns, 14 picks. The year before that, 4,200, 33 touchdowns, 7 picks. And then the year before, 42, 35, 13. 2019 was a little bit down, but then 2018. I mean, he's been doing this year after year. 2018, 70% completion, 4,200 yards, 30 touchdowns, 10 picks. Always, every single one of these years, 92 or above. And if you take out 2022, it's 99 or above passer rating, QB rating. Continually just being one of the best quarterbacks in the entire NFL. Now, he's also recovering. It's already started. You can see soon-to-be free agent Kirk Cousins recovering well from his Achilles tear. You can see him on the tennis courts. This was today, February 26th, time of this recording. He looks like he's starting to move. He's doing it on the tennis court. I read into it a little bit because, of course, the way Twitter comments work, people are like, oh, why on the tennis court? Tennis court's more stable for the Achilles. It can't move in different. The turf makes, there's a little more bounce to it. It can make your foot not plant the same way. Tennis court is very planted. your foot gets stuck, your Achilles won't pop. It gets stuck in a different way. It's not moving. So apparently it's healthy. Not a doctor, so don't quote anything I'm saying. But apparently it's healthy for the Achilles. But it looks like he's dropping back, moving well. One thing that we definitely need to understand in, I think, sports in general, because I feel like we're underestimating it these days, is it's easier to recover from injuries. Okay, it's not 1980. It's not even the mid 2000s, when somebody like Kobe Bryant tore his Achilles. It's not like that anymore. You see guys have knee injuries and come back in the NBA and play better than they did. You see guys in the NFL tear their Achilles, tear their ACL, and come back and play better than they did. You see guys like Tom Brady, who's had knee injuries and got hurt throughout his career sometimes, still played till 45. LeBron James is playing in the NBA right now at 39 at a high level still. Science, medical recovery, trainers, it's all new high level stuff that we haven't been used to in the past. So it's not as hard to recover, is all I'm trying to say. Now we can get to the teams where Kirk Cousins might end up. Now, I think, if you ask me, it should be the Vikings. I mean, they have Justin Jefferson. The coaching staff likes him. He likes the city. He likes the coaching staff. He likes his team. They've been successful this year. I know they started off rough at first, but he started getting hot. The team was hot, and good things were happening in Minnesota before he got hurt. And I don't see why they shouldn't run it back. They're currently second in odds, according to bookies.com, at a 22.2% probability at plus 350. Number one is actually the Las Vegas Raiders at plus 325, 23.5% implied probability. I don't see it happening in Las Vegas. Kirk Cousins, first of all, just doesn't strike me as the Vegas guy. I use this excuse with Russell Wilson. I just don't. I feel like Jimmy Garoppolo was like the guy you tried in Vegas. It kind of made sense, right? And it didn't work out, obviously. He seemed like that cool guy that fit Vegas. I just don't, first of all, see with Antonio Pierce, the new coach, it just doesn't seem like a fit. They seem like different styles. And I think you just need a badass on the Raiders. And I love Kirk Cousins. And I like Russell Wilson because he's a former Seahawk. But, I feel like you just need a young badass. Like, somebody that's going to, like a coach's quarterback. I just don't see it fitting there. Vikings is where it should be. Like I said, it was second. And then you go Falcons at 18%, Patriots 18%, Commanders 11%, Steelers 7%. The rest of the field at 16.7%. I'll start here. Patriots, no way. It's not happening. I think if Bill Belichick was still there, I would have assumed that that's a pretty decent possibility. But Bill Belichick's not there anymore. This is a new era. No need to go sign a 35-year-old quarterback. I don't understand that one. I don't think it's happening whatsoever. Washington Commanders. I also feel like not happening. And it's pretty simple. He's played there before. They're the ones that didn't want to pay him originally, which was why he left. And, on the other hand, it's a new era. And I don't see why they wouldn't either continue to try Sam Howell while they continue to rebuild or go get somebody else from the draft. Not really sure. They're not ready to win. I don't know why they would go pay Kirk Cousins. And the same goes for the Patriots. Not ready to win at all. The two that interest me the most, and I think these are the two places he's going to land if he's not in Minnesota, would be my top three here. Minnesota's number one. Number two for me would be the Falcons. They're at 18.2% at plus 450, tied with the Patriots. The Falcons are ready to win. And I put that in quotations. If you're just listening to the audio, I put my quotation fingers because, yes, they're not hypothetically ready to win. New coaching staff, defense isn't amazing. They haven't been there yet. But I'm saying they have pieces for a quarterback to come in with Bijan Robinson, with Kyle Pitts, with Drake London, and more. There's no reason not to at least give somebody like Kirk Cousins a shot or at least think about it, because that offense might go from being really good to great with a guy like Kirk Cousins. And then, of course, the same place that I think Russell Wilson should be a huge option for at plus 1,200, 7.7%, the Pittsburgh Steelers. And why the Pittsburgh Steelers? Pretty simple. The Pittsburgh Steelers, because Mike Tomlin, good coach, veteran. That system, veteran. A lot of people that, respect the organization, respect everything that's going on there. It has really good chance to just work out. The city would love them. They have some weapons. They have culture. They'll build around it. And they keep being stuck at that 8, 9, 10 win. Well, I think 9, 10 win, 9 wins, 9 wins, 8 wins, 9 wins, 10 wins, whatever it is. Just keep being stuck right there. And so if they keep being stuck there, what's the best thing you can do is go get a good quarterback, because that's what you're missing. Now, there's no perfect answer. Is it going to be the Falcons? Is it going to be the Steelers? Is it going to go back to Minnesota? Like I said, no perfect answer. What I know is if his Achilles turns out to be okay and he's back to what he was as a quarterback, maybe he's not as perfect as he was, maybe he's not the 7th best quarterback. Maybe he goes down to 10th. But if he's the Kirk Cousins we know that likes to work, that's going to be a great quarterback and be great in any system with a good coach and a good culture, you're talking about a guy that's worth that $38, $39 million a year. He's going to give you 4,000 yards, 30 touchdowns, and 7 to 10 picks. You're going to be a contender. And I think if you can just elevate any team with Kirk Cousins, you're actually getting a lot better. I want to know in the comments section, where do you think Kirk Cousins is going, and where do you want to see Kirk Cousins go? Let me know. Subscribe, like, and be a supporter, because it means the world. Peace.